We have a 2005 Town and Country, or this is a Dodge Caravan, Dodge Grand Caravan. But there's a lot of different cars that are like this. So for the cabin air filter, in this case, we do not have a clip and removable panel here. Normally, well, there's two kinds. Basically, there's a clip here that slides off in order to reveal the cabin air filter here, and I believe the evaporator over there, which you can clean when you open this up. But since this one doesn't open up, in order to get to it, what you have to do is you have to remove the entire dash assembly, a steering wheel, a center console if you have one, an armrest if you have an armrest that's attached to it. I'm going to drill a hole in here, and I'm going to use my my flexible camera to go up in there and make sure that I'm not going to hurt things when I Dremel cut around this whole thing to try and remove this from it forcibly. Okay, so we've got a little hole that we just drilled right here. Okay. Now we're going to try sticking our camera up in there. As you can see, it's very flexible but also strong, and I can bend it kind of like you'd bend a coat hanger, and it sticks in that position. First of all, what's in there? Because it's supposed to be an evaporator, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's different than the other model. Second, when I Dremel around it and cut things, am I going to maybe be hitting wires that are attached to the sides, or, you know, tubing? Any kind of like tubing could be related to radiator stuff, you know, water in there, so I don't want to be nicking any lines. All right, so here we are in the passenger seat. I've removed the glove compartment. It's just easier to see things, but totally unnecessary. The evaporator is right here inside this wide piece of plastic. Right here is where you would normally have a cabin air filter. You can see it's torn open now. And I don't know if you'll be able to see up in there very well, but on the left side, that should be the evaporator coil, caked up with all kinds of debris. It's sopping wet. So that's our culprit. And what I've got here, I've been recommended to use scrubby bubbles. Don't really know which kind specifically. There's a whole bunch of different kinds. This is a brush that should fit in there. That's the piece I cut off. The idea here is I'm going to squirt this up in there, and then I'm going to fit this in there, and you can see here, based on the piece that I cut out, it should fit, and it's fairly straight, but only this bottom half will probably do the scrubbing. I went with a bristle that is strong but soft, you know. All right, let's get to it. All right, so I've sprayed it up there. I did some scrubbing, and then I sprayed it up there again, and you can already see a major difference. The curve of this was actually very nice. Accident, but it was very nice choice, because there is a tube up in there that this can go around, whereas if it was thicker and bigger and more circular, it wouldn't be able to get past that tube up in there. All right, so I've gone ahead and done this 3 times now, where I spray it up in there, and then I brush it off after a couple minutes, and then I wait. Spray it again, you know, wait. And just read the back of the bottle. It says to rinse it off with water. So I'm gonna go get some water I can shoot up in there and get that thing nice and rinsed out. All right, let's take a look at the results. I cleaned it out probably 4 or 5 times total. Oh my God, that is gorgeous. Now the top probably needs a little bit more work, and that's because this brush was not long enough. This brush is 10 inches long. I don't know how long it is up there, but this 10-inch brush didn't reach the top of it. So I figured out a way to get way up in there with the brush. I used the same brush, but I put a pair of vice grips on them. And I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so the problem that you'll see here though is that when I go to grab these, it doesn't fully grab, it spins it. See how it's spinning there? Right, so I got it to a point where it was barely grabbing it, and then I tightened it just a little bit and had it just squeeze the sides. Then I took some duct tape and I just wrapped a few layers around, and that held this in place well enough. It was not perfect, it fell apart on me, but well enough that it worked. That's an hour and $30 versus $1,500 to take it to a mechanic, or 15 hours of labor potentially to remove everything on here and replace the evaporator, because that's the only other option. So, quick fix, helps a lot. Engineers are jerks. All right, see you later.